ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Pro Activators podcast. This is Gabriel, the Pro Activator, and I'm here with Mr. Fred Troiki.
That's it.
How you doing, brother?
Doing great, thank you.
All right, Fred, before we get started, I want you to really understand the definition of the Pro Activator.
Okay.
A Pro Activator is someone who becomes active about terminating bad habits and intentional about building good habits that improve their lives and the lives of those around them. They take a deliberate action to break negative cycles and consistently focus on personal growth, resilience, and positive change. Let me ask you something. Do you feel that you have some of these characteristics?
Probably one or two.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about you, because I know that you own a business.
Yes.
And somebody to own a business has to have some of those intangibles. And that's the reason why we want to interview you and see if you have how many of those. I'm sure that you have more than two characteristics of a Pro Activator. You just want to, just trying to be a little humble here, but I think that you do have. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your business.
I own some pawn shops and gun shops. I've been doing it since the late 80s. I got started with my uncle back in the 80s, and I went on my own right after Hurricane Andrew, and I've been buying and selling a few different stores here or there. So I've done had a lot of different stores. Now I'm down to just like 3 stores, and I have everything pretty much streamlined, and it's all good.
Now, tell me about the business.
A pawn shop does it. You loan money to people on their goods. Say someone would bring me a gold chain, a watch, a gun, and I loan them money on their item, and then they pay me back plus interest in 30 days. And then if they don't pick their stuff up, I sell it. So that's all the stuff I sell, not all of it, but a lot of the stuff I sell is stuff that people had left behind.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, what was the turning point that led you to start your business, and what challenges did you face in the beginning?
I'll say that the biggest challenge is you need to be consistent. You got to work every day and you can't screw up, and you can't steal from yourself. You got to be disciplined. You can only spend so much money. You got to really...
Wait, let's go back there.
Yeah.
What do you mean steal from yourself?
Like a lot of people, I think they own a business and they try to live their life from their business. You can't do that. You need to keep your business separate from your personal life. So when I say steal from yourself, I mean you're like taking money from your business to live your personal life. You can't do that. You need to be disciplined to keep it separate and live on a budget, and don't take money that you need to run your business. If you don't have money to run your business, you're going to lose your business and you're going to have nothing.
How did you learn that? Was that something that just came to you? Did you knew automatically, or did you learn the hard way, or how?
Actually, that one thing is something that an older guy had told me very early in business. He always told me, never steal from yourself. That's like advice that somebody had given me a long time ago.
And you followed that advice to the T?
I followed that to the T.
Nice, man. Now, what are the challenges that you face at the beginning?
Any business, when you first get going, it's always like a cash flow challenge, because you're building your business. You need to constantly put money in your business to make it grow. And of course, along the way, you have a lot of problems with the regulation and the government and taxes. And there's a lot of little things that you got to keep in mind all the time.
How old were you when you first opened up your first one?
I was 24.
That's pretty young. You had to have some kind of capital to start with. How were you able to start at such a young age and be able to have that capital to...
Yeah, I had a partner.
Okay.
And basically we did it together.
Were you working in that industry before? You were working on that?
I had worked in the industry before. I had left, but I always wanted to go back. And then I had opportunity to go back, and then we went back.
Nice. You made it happen.
Yeah. I think it's very good to always have a partner too. It takes a lot of pressure off you. And it helps you see things differently, because you can bounce ideas off each other, because you can make a lot of mistakes. It's good to have someone else's opinion and someone to help you. If not, you're basically married to your business. You're going to be working 6 days a week. You got to you need someone to help take some stress off you.
Okay.
So that's one thing I recommend to someone. Try to get a partner to help you out.
But I believe that also partnerships can be a little dicey, because then it's like a marriage, and then...
No, that's for sure. You just got to have a good partner. That's it. But I've had different partners over the years, some good, some bad. And it's helpful. It really is helpful.
Okay. But what kind of habits or mindsets from your early days of business do you still hold on to today?
I would say the main thing is you got to be consistent. You always got to be consistent about everything. That's the main thing.
Can you pinpoint some of the items that you have been consistent on?
Consistent. You got to be disciplined. Got to get up every day. Don't go out. And if you go out at night, you got to get up still early and go to work. You know what I mean? You can't screw around. You got to be your life. You have to live your life like you're in the military. You got to every day get up and go to work. That's the main thing. You got to be disciplined and go to work every single day and don't screw up. Don't decide that one day you don't feel like going to work. You're going to let your manager run your place or do something. You always got to be on top of things.
Okay. So you
don't be lazy. That's the better saying. Don't be lazy.
All right, great. All right, that's okay. That's one of the you just mentioned a few things there: consistency, not being lazy, and I believe that those items are characteristics of a Pro Activator. All right, cool. Now, how were you able to build on these habits? Because those are hard to. I mean, obviously, as you want to pamper yourself, we naturally seek for comfort. So, yeah. Fred, how were you able to break through that comfort and be able to be consistent and have that mindset and stay in that mindset? Did you do something? So how were you able to get there?
I don't know. I think I've always been disciplined like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I've always been disciplined, get up, work, don't screw around my whole life. So I don't know what made me that way.
Okay. So do you think that you learned that you picked that up from your parents, or did you have a model?
No, I didn't have a model, but I've always, like I say, since I was young, I always...
Were you a good student?
Yeah, I was a good student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a good student.
I always try to be, everything in my life, I try to be consistent and not screw around. And the main thing is, you got to be responsible. I hate irresponsibility. You know what I mean? You always got to be responsible. So it would drive me crazy to not be responsible and do what I was supposed to do.
Okay.
If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you carry that from childhood.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so you were responsible. You used to do your homework, study for your tests.
Oh yeah.
Nice, man. That's great. So you carry that. And you can't pinpoint if you caught that from one of your parents or anything. You just, as far as you can remember, you were like that.
As far as I can remember, I was like that.
Nice. Maybe a grandparent that told you something and...
I think probably what happened in my whole life, I probably picked up little things from different people, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Like even when I was younger, I was a kid, we always worked on something. We weren't like lazy, sit around, watch TV. We always had some project, some activity, something. We didn't sit around and watch TV and do dumb shit. Okay. We always were doing something.
Like your family was active.
Something positive all the time.
Okay.
Always trying to do something positive. Even if it's little, fixing something. I think it's real important when you're young to be instilled with the values of taking care of stuff, repairing stuff. Don't let stuff go to take care of your stuff. That's the basic I can tell you. You got to take care of your stuff.
Okay. So you're saying your family, your dad, your mom, they always made you do stuff around. You were always doing something.
Yeah, we didn't leave things like, if you go to some people's houses, they'll have something that's broken all the time. So you go to someone's house and drive you crazy. You see something, they have a hinge that's loose or something like that. That shit never existed in my life.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Everything was always 100%.
Okay. That's a good. It was instilled in you, and that was pretty good. Most of the time, learning is not often taught, but caught.
Yeah, that's probably, I would say it's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe that throughout your youth, you were able to catch on to things, even though they weren't deliberately taught to you.
Yeah.
But you caught on to those, and you became somebody who followed through.
Yeah, you have to follow through. That's very important. Following through. Don't leave things unfinished.
Nice, man. That's really good, brother. That's really good, Fred. All right, so moving on. What bad habits did you have to terminate to reach your current level of success? Did you remember anything like, man, you know what, I got to stop doing that?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can pinpoint that you were like, had to deliberately say, nah, man, I got to stop doing that?
No? I really can't think of any one thing, really.
Nah, man.
I think it's important that you have a good life foundation, like the gym. I love going to the gym.
Yeah.
And that's always been important in my life, going to the gym and consistent about that. And I think that probably doing that early on in life is a good foundation for your whole life. It keeps you disciplined, I think. You know what I mean?
Nice.
But I really can't think of any bad habits I really had. I was always a person, get up, go to work, do my shit. I never overslept. I never missed work. Even if I was sick, I'd go to work. You know what I mean? And it didn't, I don't know.
Okay. That's good, Fred.
Actually, I can tell you a bad habit I maybe had. One thing I learned, that you can't do everything yourself. That's a bad habit I had. I want to try to do everything myself and not take help on a lot of things where I probably could have used help, and it would have made my life much easier. And maybe not trusting people to do the job correctly. That's all kind of connected.
Okay. How were you able to overcome that?
I just had to figure it out.
And just I guess you had to just say, hey, it's not going to be perfect, but at least if it's 70%, 80%, that's good enough.
I won't say it's still going to be good, but to let other people help you and do things for you was really hard for me. I'd say that was really hard for me. I think now that I'm older, I have younger people that work for me, and they do things that I would always do myself, but I don't try to do everything now myself. I let them help me. That makes sense.
Okay. All right. No, man, that's good. That's really good. All right. So now we already talked about building positive habits and interactions. Okay. What new habits have you have been the most crucial to your success, both in business and your life? Do you think that, is there a specific habit in your life that you can pinpoint to say, you know what, that's been a main driver in my life? You mentioned earlier your fitness, getting up early.
That's important. Just consistent, get up early, go to the gym, and just live your life like a calendar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's real important, I think. But maybe some people it's not. Maybe some people think it's too boring. But I like to be consistent, go to the gym, eat fairly decent, live on a good schedule.
Okay.
Try to go to bed around the same time. I think that's real important, too, is try to go to bed around the same time every night, eat around the same time.
That's good, man. How many hours of sleep do you normally get?
I try to get out 8 hours.
8 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you go to sleep like around 9 or something?
Yeah, around 9.
9.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I know sleep is good for you. I get about 6.5.
Yeah.
I don't think I get to 7.
Do you sleep during the day at all?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If I have a little bit of a window,
Yeah.
I might get me like a 15, 20 minute power nap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that might count. All right. In your journey, when did you realize that focus and discipline were key to achieving your goals?
So long I don't remember.
So you picked those up at a really early age, and you just kept on and grew from there.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Man, it's pretty good, man. That there's a lot of things that you've done. Have you read any books at all? What do you like? Any personal development books?
No.
No, never
like that,
read any of that stuff.
Nothing.
That's good because a lot of those books talk about a lot about the stuff that you're talking about. When you read about personal development, they touch on those little items that help you get there. Okay. So there's not is there an influence in your life, somebody that you look up to? It could be a famous person. It could be somebody from your family that, oh man, I want to emulate that type of.
No, I think I pick up little things from different people.
Different people.
Not one person, maybe little things from a lot of people. Because every person has, everybody's different. And different people have different positive characteristics. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you say, everybody has something to offer to you.
Okay.
You might even just meet someone briefly in the street, and that person can have something positive to offer to you. You wouldn't think so.
And so you feel like maybe your type of personality is you catch on to those things, and you maybe automatically, without even knowing, you start. Or do you know when you, oh man, I want to be like that?
Yeah, and I pick up on things from different people. I just see things like different people I meet, and I don't say anything to them or whatever, but I could pick up something from almost anybody that I see positive.
Nice. Okay. That's something good to have.
Everybody has something to offer.
Yeah.
Even some bum on the street might have some positive wisdom that you might never knew you needed.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing is that it's easier to pick up bad habits than good habits. But in your case, you pick up the good habits.
I try.
That's good. That's good. That means that you have an internal antenna. You pick something up, man, that's good. Boom. You gravitate to that and you start applying it in your life quietly, but surely you start applying that and you start seeing the positive results out of what that one action is, whatever it is, right?
Yes.
Nice, Fred. All right. So you have three stores?
Yeah, 3 stores.
Are you looking to grow your business more, or do you think that
I'm not really sure, honestly. 'Cause I'm getting a little older. I'm thinking about retirement, maybe doing something that's less hands-on. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Did you know as a child that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or no?
No.
It just automatically happened? Like, what triggered? I guess the fact working there, you saw that it was a good opportunity, and I guess you took it, but
I don't know, honestly, because I really had no real direction when I was younger for as far as a career. I knew I wanted to do something with business, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and then it just worked out. This thing just worked out for me.
Okay. Nice, man. You've made a life out of this. Do you feel like you reach some form of financial freedom?
Yeah, I think so. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with my accomplishments. You can always do more. You can always do less.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So I'm happy.
You're happy where you're at?
Yeah, I'm happy.
You don't feel like money is a burden? It's an issue. You don't feel like, okay.
No.
That's good, man. That's good. Because that's a lot of what people are trying to reach, obviously, to reach a certain of financial freedom where money is just not something that they think about as much because they have it.
Yeah, but not so much that. You always got to keep an eye on your money. You know what I mean?
Of course.
No matter how much money you have, you got to take control of it because you can lose it very quickly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think if you live financially smart, it makes a big difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You can make $1 million a year and be broke.
Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah. All right. So managing your money, how were you able to learn that? Did you pick up along the way how to manage your money, or did you learn from your parents and how to?
I think I learned along the way. People taught me different things. I think the most important thing is trying to make yourself in debt. Don't waste money on things that aren't going to appreciate. Don't buy a bunch of dumb shit.
Okay. You ever heard of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah, I've never read it.
Okay, Rich Dad Poor Dad, he says focus on buying assets and not liabilities. So if you buy assets, eventually you'll be rich. Yeah. If you buy liabilities, you're going to be poor.
That's always what I tell people. But buy something that's going to hold a value. For example, at my work, I tell people the same thing. People always talk about a gun. Let's say a gun, for example. Guns pretty much hold their value. You know what I mean? You're not really going to lose money if you buy a gun. It's an asset. I tell people, listen, when they they always tell me, oh, I don't know if my wife wants to spend, well, let me buy this or something like that. And I tell them, listen, let's say you buy one gun a month. This, for example, I'm not saying you buy one gun a month. Let's say your wife buys one pair of shoes or one purse every month. In 20 years, what's your wife going to have and what are you going to have? She's not going to have shit. You're going to have a ton of money saved up. But it doesn't have to be a gun, for example. It could be a stock. It could be a gold coin. It could be anything with a real value that's going to appreciate. If you spend your money on that every month and not stuff that's going to be worthless in 6 months, you're going to become successful.
Nice, brother. That's going to be a clip right there. All right, Fred. Now, outside of business, what's something that you're passionate about that helps you stay balanced?
You know that. The gym.
The gym?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Come on, it's got to be something else. Anything else?
I love the gym. I love going to the gun range. I love to shoot. And spend time with friends and family. You know,
nice.
That's the most important thing I think in life is going to spend time with your friends and your family.
Nice, Fred. Yeah. Yeah, I know a little bit about that. You have some parties here sometimes. Yeah, that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Friends, I'm telling you, family and friends is more important than any amount of money you have.
Yeah. Amen, bro.
Like you can have $1 billion and you can buy a Lamborghini. How long is that Lamborghini going to make you happy? Probably not very long if you got that type of money. But if you got good family and friends with you all the time, they're going to make you happy all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, Fred. Now, all right, I had a question here for you for books or podcasts or any type of research that changed the way that you approach in business or life. You said that maybe the little things here and there that you picked up from people, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. That's good, man. That's good. If you had, you know what a TED Talk is?
TikTok?
A TED Talk.
You mean like the videos? Yeah, yeah.
All right. So if you had to give a TED Talk.
Oh, a TED Talk.
Yeah, a TED Talk.
Oh, a TED Talk. Yeah.
All right. If you had to give a TED Talk tomorrow, what would it be about and why?
I have no idea, man. I have no clue.
Come on, Fred. Think hard. Think hard.
I would say this: the basics of living your life, really.
And what are those?
Like I said, family, friends, watch your money, spend your money on something that's going to be worth something, take care of yourself, exercise, surround yourself with good people.
Be consistent.
Yeah, be consistent. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because let me ask you something. Did you ever set yourself goals?
Yeah. You know what you got to do? You got to set yourself small goals. Because if you set one big goal, it doesn't take you forever to reach it. You're going to get discouraged. You got to do a bunch of small goals that you can reach. And then that's going to reinforce the next goal. If you make one big goal, you say, oh, man, I'm going to buy, I don't know, I'm going to have a mansion as your goal. For you to go from zero to that mansion is going to take you forever. I'm not saying you're not going to do it, but from there to there, you're going to be very frustrated because you're not going to reach any goals. Go little steps, little steps. Life is about baby steps and base hits. It's not about home runs. I think that's real important for people. Because everybody thinks that they're going to instant gratification, instant wealth, instant success. It doesn't work that way. You got to do a little bit at a time.
Okay. Is that a principle that you followed in your life?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Got to be patient. And as long as you're always moving forward, that's the most important thing. Always move forward, even if it's a little bit at a time. And another thing that's very important, don't dwell on the past. Don't look back. That's probably one of the biggest things I can tell people. Don't look back. Don't dwell on some mistake you made. If you dwell on that mistake you made, it'll hold you back forever. You'll never want to do anything else. You'll be so worried about that one mistake. Always look forward and try to keep moving forward. That's, I think, the best piece of advice you can give to anybody.
Okay. So you apply that principle in your life. You don't let your past mistakes dictate your future.
No. Always go forward. Always just keep moving forward. That's all I can tell you.
It's not an easy thing to do.
It's very easy.
You think so?
It's super easy. As long as you just keep going forward, looking forward, don't look in the past, it's not very hard.
Okay.
It's not very hard.
What made you have this type of mindset? Do you know? Can you pinpoint you just picked it up? You figure it out on your own?
Just figured it out on my own. I made some mistakes in my life and business, and I learned that worrying about those mistakes never helped me grow or get me anywhere better. You know what I mean? Because you're so worried about those mistakes, and you think of like I say a prime example. Not in my life, but for a lot of people's lives. Let's say they get in a car accident. They're going to sue and get all this money, whatever. So what do? They put their life on hold for 5 years, let's say. Keep worrying about the money and their accident, and then they're stuck in the past, worried about that accident and what money they can get from that accident. If they just forgot about that accident, forgot about that lawsuit, and just continued to work and keep moving forward, they would be so far ahead than at the end when they get their money. Because not all the time, 99% of the time when you have a lawsuit and money, you don't get hardly anything at the end. You never get millions and whatever. And there are exceptions. But for the most part, no.
Okay.
So you're basically putting your life on hold. You don't want to put your life on hold, man. You got to keep on running.
Yeah, no. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, but you still have, it happens to me, the what ifs. Man, what if I would have done this?
You can't think that way, because what is that going to get you? What are those what ifs going to get you?
Nowhere.
Because all you're going to be thinking about is that what if. Block all that shit out of your past and think about what you can do next. Always think about what you can do next.
A long time ago, I had this, for a season in my life.
Yeah.
I was able to acquire this attitude that that I would always tell people because I lived it, right?
Yeah.
And I would tell them, hey, what is the key into having a great day?
Yeah.
And a lot of people said very positive things, right?
Yeah.
But then I told them, those are good things, but that's not it.
Yeah.
Because I felt like in that season of my life, I figured it out. Why? Because during that season of my life, I told them, no, that's not it. It's good, but that's not it.
Yeah.
The key into having a great day every single day is this. Do not let absolutely anything bother you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you go through a whole day, a regular day,
Yeah. I agree 100%.
and you don't let absolutely nothing bother you, at the end of the day, you would have a great day.
Yeah.
No matter how many problems you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Why? Because every time because this type of mindset, whenever you are faced with a problem,
Yeah.
you're automatically seeking for the solution and not dwelling on the problem.
Yeah.
Which it goes back to what you were saying about dwelling in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very similar to don't dwell on the problem,
Yeah.
just automatically focus on the solution.
Yeah.
Because we have to do it anyways, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We have to solve it, and normally we always do find a solution.
Yeah.
We fix the problem, we manage the problem, and we move on.
Yeah.
But what we do is we let it bother us.
Yeah.
We dwell on the problem a little bit.
Yeah.
We jump in the problem pool.
Yeah.
We get wet.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I guess it feels good.
Yeah. But then all you do is complain about it.
Yeah.
You complain to everybody around you, and they don't want to hear your crap. You know what I mean? It's not good. Nothing good out of it.
And eventually you have to freaking solve the problem.
You gotta fix it. Yeah.
So yeah, man. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Do you let things bother you?
I try not to. Sometimes they do.
Okay.
Sometimes they do. For example, at my work, I had a problem with a fire inspector yesterday, or day before yesterday. I got so mad at this guy because he didn't want to listen. You know, he was on a power trip. He didn't want to listen. And I tried to tell him something. He started to accuse me of something that I don't even know where he even came up with this idea. I don't know where he even came up with this. So he pissed me off, which I don't like to get angry, but I said, I got to do something about it. You know what I mean? So I called the supervisor and had her come meet with me, and I took care of the problem, and it was all good.
Okay. But for a moment there, you did allow it.
I did allow it to bother me. I got so mad at this guy. He pissed me off so bad because he basically accused me of lying. That's what really upset me. You know what I mean? And I had to let it go. I had to learn to let it go. But for about an hour, I was upset. I had a hard time getting it out of my mind until I was able to reach his supervisor and agree to have her come meet with me. Once that happened, I knew that I could solve the problem with her because this guy was just out of his mind. You know what I mean? And of course, when she came, she was very easy to work with and is very understanding and solved the problem.
Nice. Do you feel that whenever those issues, daily issues that get thrown at you, do you feel like you have to be intentional about not letting those problems affect you? Because if you're not intentional, then you're going to be reactive.
Yeah. Most things don't bother me, honestly. Most things don't bother me. I just shrug it off because every day there's an issue. You have issues every single day, and I don't let none of those issues bother me. But every once in a while, something will really piss me off. Like when you accuse me of lying, that will piss me off. That pisses me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of will piss me off.
Okay. Fred, what would you say to a young entrepreneur out there who might be thinking about starting a business?
Yeah.
Or what would you say to your younger self if you had the opportunity to do so on how to approach business?
Yeah.
And so they don't make the mistakes that you made? What would you say to them?
The same thing I've been telling you the whole time. You got to always be positive, look forward. Don't worry about mistakes you made in the past. That's one of the biggest things I think, is don't worry about mistakes you made in the past. Because when I was younger, I let things hold me back. Things I maybe fucked up on, made me scared to keep trying because I fucked up on something. I didn't want to fuck up again. But it took me a little bit to realize you can't think that way. You got to keep going and going. If you don't keep going like a bulldozer, you're never gonna succeed.
Okay. So don't look back at the mistakes.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Keep the disciplines in check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then those are simple intangibles.
And don't steal from yourself.
Don't steal from yourself.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's real important. Don't steal from yourself.
Yeah.
So I know lots of people that have businesses and they don't understand that, sure, you're taking all this money, but at the end of the month, you got a lot of bills to pay. And maybe you took in a shit ton of money. After you pay all these bills, you're not going to have that much left. You know what I mean? That's what business is. People don't understand that a business, expenses can be overwhelming. You know what I mean? It's not like taking $10,000, you made $10,000. No, out of that $10,000, maybe you make $1,000. And people don't understand that.
That's true. That's true. All right. So you heard it from Fred. Don't steal from yourself. And so pay yourself a salary, right?
Pay yourself a salary.
Pay your salary.
Be consistent.
Respect the business.
Yeah, yeah.
Respect what you make in the
Don't
business.
give yourself a stupid salary. Give yourself enough salary that you can survive.
Invest in assets.
Yeah. Okay. Always buy something that's not going to go down in value. Of course, you need to buy clothes and food and things like that, but don't buy unless you have money to waste.
A boat,
jet
skis.
and shit. Yeah. And until you have money to waste like that. But when you
Yeah.
started off, you can't be doing that. You got to save your money because you're going to have a bad month. What happens when you have a bad month and you don't have money to pay your rent? You're going to lose your whole business. Then next thing you know, you're going to be working for somebody else.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Fred. I think we've had a pretty good interview, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights. I have to, first of all, I want to welcome you to the Pro Activators Club, my brother.
Thank you.
Because you definitely fit the intangibles of a Pro Activator. You're going to get
Sure.
once I get them, Pro Activators Club.
Yeah, make sure.
Extra large. I got you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this interview with Mr. Fred. I hope you enjoyed it. I ask you to please subscribe and share with anybody that you know could use this great information. And with that said, thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.